I definitely saw the effect and impact of reception year, at least in the way that she was much more independent. I do feel like reception at Haileybury is truly special and different. Here, there's a very holistic environment. I would say that yes, it was a challenging year for Ansar and probably for all the children. Transitioning into year one at Haileybury from, kindergarten obviously took a lot, I think, but it was great. Children were immersed in an English-speaking environment right away. They were taught independence. From day one, children were being responsible for themselves in a good way. And I feel like the first 3 months were really an adjustment period, but afterwards, parents couldn't recognize their children themselves, because truly, I think it made a lot of difference. However, I would say that having reception when my second child entered Haileybury, Emily, made a huge difference. I think that adjustment period, first of all, I don't think there was an adjustment period, to be honest, because they went through that during their time at reception. And I think they were able to take on more and quicker. Not really. I think the program is always great and, organized and managed in a higher standard. But I do think that because the children were more prepared, less time was spent on preparing them for being ready. And, they could take on more challenging tasks right away. Because I know that at Haileybury, children's progress is always observed. And there's always, the level of beginners, intermediate, and then the advanced level. So I think when my son went to school, the children were less prepared, even in terms of English language. They had to get used to, being always with instructors speaking only in English. So because of that, I think the teachers couldn't right away give them some tough, challenging assignments. But with Emily, I feel like that wasn't the case. With her class, at least those people, and I think because the children are younger at that age, the adaptation happens in a much more effective way. So when she went into year one, yes, I feel like they were perhaps given right away, the assignments that are supposed to be given. So less time for adaptation, more time for actual work. This is a very good question. I mean, obviously, each child is different and they have different learning, habits. Generally, I would say no. But I think with Emily, I definitely saw the effect and impact of reception year, at least in the way that she was much more independent. I didn't need to tell her how to organize her work, why she needs to do it. So I do feel like Emily was more independent when she went into year one. She was more comfortable and she was more confident in herself. Well, kindergartens vary, obviously. My children went to different kindergartens, and my youngest one is currently in Montessori kindergarten, which Ansar and Emily didn't go to. So each time I kind of, I had different experiences in that regard. But I do feel like reception at Haileybury is truly special and different. Number one, because it's already in a school environment. It's one thing to be in a kindergarten environment where you mostly, of course, you play, you're being looked after, and the academic curriculum is something secondary. But I feel like here, there's a sort of closer integration between the emotional development of the child, but also the academic development of the child. And because they exist and come to actual school, I do feel like it helps them to grow and mature faster. And I'm not saying that we need to teach children at age 4, but I do feel like here there's a very holistic environment that enables a child to stay individual, but at the same time to help him or her achieve whatever is needed to achieve at that age. So I would say that for my youngest one at least, case in point, I can't wait for the moment for her to go into reception. because I think it will be a true step forward in her development, social development, but also academic development. She learned to read in English and in Russian. She was able to do simple basic maths. She was able to think critically about anything that is being given to her. So I remember with Ansar, children learned how to read in English and write in English in year 1. With Damali, that's not even the case. She knew how back then. So now she can even read Ansar's books. So Ansar level books, she can read it. Very slowly, of course, with mistakes, but she can do that because she was being prepared. I also feel like coming to school at age 5 is more difficult than coming to school at age 4. At age 4, they're more sort of ready, you know? They take in things intuitively, in a playful manner. It's not that hard for them. It's, you know, something as natural and given. But when they're 5, they need to be conscious about, you know, knowing how to learn, being disciplined. But at age 4, if you give that to them, then it becomes automatic. I would say trust your children and trust the school. I think in our society, sometimes parents are used to sort of going and double, triple checking what is happening in school. Is everything up to the correct standards? Are their children being taken care of or not? But my experience here at primary school tells me that everything is thought out on a such deep level that the only thing that you should do is to support your child at home. And if you bring your child here, I think you should trust the school, that it knows what it's doing. With regards to children not being ready, I feel like children nowadays are so different. I mean, I myself, I'm sort of a young generation, but children now, I look at my children at age 4 and 5, they can speak so eloquently, elegantly, critically about things that we couldn't even dream about. So I feel like, no, they are ready, for sure. And if they're worried about, you know, safe environment and age-appropriate activities, I don't think they should be. I think we should help our children to become independent, to become global citizens, and that starts at age 4. So definitely, whoever I meet, I always say, the fact that Damali went to reception made that much difference. I look at her now and I see this effect, and I definitely know if she would have stayed at kindergarten, she would come to year 1 and she would spend at least half a year adjusting. I mean, children vary again, you know, some children, they come in with already existing knowledge of English language, but Ansar's experience showed me that, number 1, you know, the school is great. You know, the earlier you bring your child, the better and easier it will be for him to adjust later. So if you plan to bring your child here to Haileybury, I would say earlier the better. I think there are different factors. Number 1, I feel like they feel that they're part of a great community. They love their friends, they love their teachers, they know that school is their territory. It's where they learn, where they play, where they grow. I mean, my children, they run to school. When we had a few times, you know, experiences with online, it was a tragedy, you know, because my son was like, this online will never replace offline experience. I mean, he says that at age 9, and I agree with him. Damali, the same. She runs to school and she's like, Mommy, I love my school. I said, I know, that's great. So everything, you know, and I think it is about infrastructure, of course. It is about excellent academic curriculum. It is about English language. But I think it's about the atmosphere, and I think it's the feeling that the school gives them, you know, this notion of quality. You are united by some common idea. I don't know, I see this in my children. You know, I also saw this obviously in Aigerim, who is an absolute product of your school. You know, she was here from the very first year when it was was opened, and then she graduated and she went to university. So I'll always, whenever I hear some different comments about Haileybury, I always say, you know, no one is telling me to say good things about Haileybury. I'm saying what I see, what I feel. I see Aigerim, who has never had a tutor in her life in any of the subjects because the school provided all that. If your child wants to use the school's resources, he can. She received excellent education foundation here. I mean, maybe we were just lucky that she was a disciplined and committed girl, but in the family, I remember we were maybe supporting her in primary school, but after that, no, the school did everything. Even with Kazakh, you know, she has excellent Kazakh language. And now she's at Brown University in her second year of studies. So this is an empirical example that if you want to, if you're willing, the school can offer you great opportunities.